Now, I could easily start this video the way any other video essay type would start a video on a Nintendo franchise. You know, say something like, Nintendo has had a lot of memorable characters over the years, Mario, Link, Samus, blah blah blah. Instead, I will start this video reading this news headline from NintendoEverything.com. Hey Pikmin sold 45% of its initial shipment in Japan. This is a pretty depressing headline for fans of this series that at one point was going to be the next Mario, according to Shigeru Miyamoto. We will come back to that quote later. Now, fans are desperately waiting for a fourth installment in this series, even though the last main game that wasn't a platform, a spin-off, a mobile game, or a port was in 2013. But it's not like this series is ignored by Nintendo. All in All has been playable in every Smash game after Brawl, and there's a Pikmin-themed area in Nintendo Land. Even if you haven't played these games, you're probably familiar with these characters. So why did this series fail, that I say using quotation marks? Hey, I forgot to record this part, so sorry if the audio sounds different, but I know it will, so. Now, for those of you who don't know, here's a little explanation of the games. Pikmin is a strategy game with little creatures, respectively called Pikmin. Every color has a different power, like red Pikmin can't go in water, but can take fire. But blue Pikmin can go in water, but can't take fire, for example. With these creatures, you can make them attack enemies or use them to get items. Some of these items can be sucked up in these things called onions,
and it will give you more Pikmin of that color.
but others will be treasures that can progress you in the game. Now, I'm missing a few details, but to be honest, but that's all the basic knowledge you need to know to enjoy this video. Now, before I begin, I want to say this isn't a Pikmin retrospective or review. Well, kinda. I will share some behind the scenes insights and personal opinions, but this whole video isn't going to be that. Instead, it's going to be about why so many people were put off by this series. Well, let's start by going back to the first game of the series. Also, I have no easy way to record GameCube games, so I would just use footage I found online and commercials. There will be a link in the description to the footage I used. Now, the first Pikmin game is a pretty good game. Yes, the camera can be wonky at times, and controlling it with this is a bit weird, but it's an enjoyable, quirky game that you should play if you haven't already. But the thing with it comparing it to Mario, say I told you we would go back to that quote. In a Mario game, you have one goal, to get to the end of the level by winning right, and maybe fight an enemy or get a power-up along the way. Even in the 3D games like 64 and Sunshine, or more recently Odyssey, have this same basic goal. This time the flagpole is being replaced with a star or a moon. In Pikmin 1, you have 30 days to collect 30 parts of your spaceship to get home, or Olimar literally dies. And you have to carry these creatures around, hoping that no enemy kills half of them, so you have to go back and collect more, then waste half of your day. It's a lot less pick up and play if you catch my drift. I think this is what probably led to a part of its failure there. The game is just a bit too slow. You have to wait for your Pikmin to finish destroying a wall or log for a bridge. You have to wait for your Pikmin to carry a ship part or enemy back to where you started. All this waiting could set a few people off from this game. And another thing that probably did is the time limit. Like I previously mentioned, you have 30 days to collect the parts. Now, this is a little more generous compared to Majora's Mask's 3 days time limit, but at least you could time travel there. Here you have to go through them all, but the days pass before you know it. I've had so many days where I have a plan, and at the start of the day, and due to a lack of Pikmin or enemies, I get it done at the end of the day, or I have to wait until the next day to get it done. It feels like Nintendo knew this, as in Pikmin 2, you are given an unlimited number of days to do your job, and in Pikmin 3, you get 99 days, according to Google. I have no idea why that game didn't have infinite days too, but whatever. Anyways, back to the first game. Now, while writing this script, this sentence came into my head. If this game wasn't made by Nintendo, it would probably be on a PC. This is really true to anyone who's played these games. They feel like they were designed to be played with a mouse and keyboard, but you are playing it with like the controller instead. Thankfully, if you are playing the Wii ports, you can use a Wiimote and nunchuck. I know most critics find motion controls the worst thing ever conceived by man, but here it makes the game a lot more natural to play. So if you take my advice to play these games, get the Wii versions. You can easily find them on the Wii U eShop. So get them before it closes down. Now we have 3 reasons why this game failed. It was too confusing and hard for a casual audience, but a bit slow for hardcore fans. Now, let me stress again, I don't think this game is bad, it just didn't know who it was for. But there was also a 4th reason that I'm kind of avoiding, is that the system it was on, the GameCube, sold kinda poorly. There's a few reasons why the GameCube sold bad, but the one that most people point to is the lack of a way to play DVDs, which every other system. So, the way to reel in a casual audience to get you a system was to make it cheaper than a DVD player. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if half of the PS2s sold because they could play movies and maybe an iToy if you wanted it to. The GameCube didn't have a DVD player, well, unless you lived in Japan, but that's another story. But the point is, those sales of the console was another reason why this game failed. Now, the game sold okay enough, I guess, to get a Player's Choice box variant and a sequel. Yeah, they would just give Player's Choice box variants to anything. Like, look at this, Super Metroid Player Choice box variant, the sales say different. The sequel was a lot better than the first. There were new characters to add to the lore, infinite days as previously mentioned, there were way more collectibles, they were mostly optional, there were caves, and there was multiplayer. In this one, the story is that Olimar and his new friend Louie need to find lost... In this one, the story is that Olimar and his new companion Louie need to find lost treasure for money instead of ports to keep Hakatot Freight, the company you work for, alive. This one is more of a collectathon. In the last game, you didn't need to collect all 30 parts, as 5 of them didn't matter if you collected them or not. Here there were about 200 treasures, and you only need as many as it takes to get this ball up. This game also had a better marketing campaign than the first game. We all know that a game commercial or trailer is supposed to make you want to play the game, obviously. That's why they showed things like explosions, guns, and swords. With Pikmin 1's marketing campaign was a nature documentary with a sleepy narrator. Now, with the sequels commercial, we have a lot of people in Pikmin outfits running around saying hot dog over and over again. Then one of them walks up the stairs and walks into a pillar. No, we never see this Pikmin in the rest of the commercial, so there was a death 7 seconds in. Then they all pissed around a random man. Pikmin then steals the hot dog from him and they all run back to their master. But once they bring it back to the masters, they say this.
I said with mustard. Make it 2.
This commercial shows that work is never over, in this game or reality. And we will all keep working until we fall. Okay. Oh, sorry, I just got really pretentious there. Anyways, back to Pikmin. Pikmin 2, according to this website, sold worse than the first. So after the GameCube, the series had a break. Besides ports, there were no new Pikmin games on the Wii. So fans had to wait until 2013 for Pikmin 3 to release. But I'm happy to say that the wait was worth it, as Pikmin 3 is, obviously because of new hardware, is the best looking of this series. This one has 3 new original on their quest to find food, as the planet they live on has run out of it. This is more similar to the second game than the first game, but it's still good. Pikmin 3 still sold terribly, though. Not even its advertising campaign with high-level special effects could save it, or this Reggie quote.
I feel just like a purple Pikmin.
It did well in Japan, but in America it was a different story. After that, of course, the Pikmin series would take another break, until in 2017 when the series got a platforming game on a 7-year-old system. I have not played this game. I would put yet between the not and the played, but that would mean I plan to play this game in the future, which I don't. From the reviews I've seen and read, basically this is a mediocre platformer that feels more like a Pikmin fan game than a real official product. Needless to say, this is what nobody wanted. Even if this was a more successful series, the game is still on a system released in 2011 that is soon going to be replaced by another handheld system that can play bigger games, so it would still fail. In recent years, Pikmin 3 has been ported to the Switch in Pikmin 3 Deluxe with a new story mode. I again have not picked this version up. All this having playing is taking me back to my iceberg video, geez. But it has sold more than the original. I wonder why. Oh, and there's this Pokemon Go like mobile game called Pikmin Bloom that is the last game that has come out in the series. I have 100% completed this game on very hard mode. Okay, I'm just kidding. I also never got this one. But can you blame me? I didn't even know this game was released until I started writing the script. I saw literally no advertising on YouTube videos about the game. It looks cool, but not good enough for me to download. Sorry. So now we are in the present year of 2022. Mark Zuckerberg wants us to live in a computer or whatever. There's now way more indie games due to platforms like Kickstarter. There's now technically 3 Half-Life games, but still, the question that remains in most people's brains is, will we ever get a Pikmin 4? Who knows? It comes down to interest in the series, because if these games are in a bargain bin, then probably not. But what do I know? But what I do know is this. One day, we might wake up. It's a normal day. You brush your teeth, take a shower, get a glass of coffee. Well, if you do any of those things in the morning, I hope you brush your teeth in the morning, geez. But there's something different about this day. You feel like a purple Pikmin.